Let's talk about 3D printing. It's been around for years, but it was mainly associated with geeks, with makers, with something complex. But now, it's kind of becoming more popular and a little bit more mainstream. At least I have one. Not because I wanted to print a figurine or because I wanted to cosplay or like fix something in my apartment. I actually bought it because I wanted to design and print Pinterest worthy objects. I was thinking lamps, vases, trays, boxes, frames. And that is because I started seeing some 3D printed lamps in the homes of influencers I was following, and I was like, I could totally make that. And that's why we got the 3D printer. So I'm gonna start by giving you a little bit of context on 3D printing. Then we will kind of like introduce the benefits of it. Then I'll give you some examples, and then I will end up with some challenges. Let's start with the context. As I was saying, 3D printing isn't just about cosplaying anymore. In fact, it's kind of like becoming a bit more of like a mainstream design tool. Whether for prototyping or like a final end product, it kind of like pushes our boundaries as creative, creating impossible design that would be harder to make by hand. Before 3D printing, I tried polymer clay, jesmonite, and pottery. And despite how much I love those crafty techniques, I wasn't that happy with waiting times. And I was also very frustrated with imperfections. With 3D printing, I kind of like got rid of those problems, like waiting times, they are controlled. I can do it in my home, and I know it's gonna be 20 minutes, 1 hour, a couple of hours, up to 9 hours, it really depends. And regarding imperfections, usually what you design on the software, if you know how to design for 3D printing, that's usually what you get once you print. So my frustration was drastically reduced when I started 3D printing. My only problem was 3D modeling because I don't have patience to learn. I tried to learn Blender, I tried to learn Fusion 360, but for some reason, I don't connect with those tools. And I don't know, I guess I will try again in the future because right now I only know how to make basic shapes, which allow me to do quite much, but it's not enough. Anyway, as I was saying, with 3D printing, I kind of like got rid of those problems. Like in a matter of hours, I would have tangible objects that I didn't on the screen, but they're now physical objects that I didn't have to construct. They were just construct in my printer, and they're almost perfect. I just maybe need to refine it a bit, but then if I want to have a copy or like multiple copies of that object, I could just send it again to the printer and wait. Do anything else, just wait, and I will have that great object that I designed it without not doing much effort. Yes, sometimes sprints can take up to 10 hours. It really depends on how big or how sturdy you want your object to be. For example, if you want to print a pair of earrings, then that can take up to 20 minutes. It really depends on what you're printing. And yes, sometimes your design isn't as printable as you thought it would be. So you might start printing and then realizing that it's not printing or that it's dripping. I don't know. But I guess like with time, you get to understand what is printable and what's not. And you can also add supports to kind of like literally make almost everything printable. And to be honest, that's the most frustrating part to me because if I envision something and then I have to start modifying it in order to be printable, and at the end it's just not that easy and like straightforward as I want it to be, and that's my problem. The best part is that I got to design these earrings, these trays, these boxes, these frames, and I know they're very simple, like basic shape, but I made that. I think it's very wholesome and very exciting, so that leads me to the next topic. Let's talk about the benefits of 3D printing. More benefits. One of them is customization. You can create bespoke pieces that fit perfectly into your space or your client spaces, with unique patterns, unique materials, and shapes tailored to your personal style. And the best part is that it's usually more affordable this way. That can be a little bit controversial because you need to make an initial investment that really depends on you, on how much you want and you can afford. You can buy something that is around $100. You can buy something that is around $600, or you can even go up. It really depends on your budget, on what you want, and you can afford. And you can also get it secondhand. And when it comes to filaments, the same. Like the ones that I'm buying, they're about $25 each. But you can get them cheaper, you can get them more expensive. I'm just buying the basic PLA beginner friendly filament, but they're like very fancy ones that I would want to try one day. What I like about PLA, the filament that I'm using, is that it's more sustainable than others. So that's another benefit from 3D printing, that is actually more sustainable than other manufacturing techniques. So there are different materials when it comes to 3D printing, and PLA actually is not like plastic, like petroleum plastic, but it's kind of like, it comes from cornstarch and I don't remember what else, but it's recycled somehow and recyclable. Also, when 3D printing with PLA, you are not being that exposed to odors or fumes, so it's also better for your health. But despite that, we still leave the window a little bit open when we're 3D printing. But of course, there are some challenges that we cannot ignore. Just by you learning how to 3D print, you're going to be creating a lot of waste because most of your first prints are going to fail. And that's completely normal, but people keep seeing it as plastic, despite how much you tell them that it's not such a terrible plastic, it's recyclable. But recycling 3D printing like waste is not that easy. You actually need to put it in a container and send it to a specific company, so not everyone is doing it, but you have the possibility. Actually, it's meant to be biodegradable, but to be honest, it's not like you would print something and in a couple of months it will be gone. It's more durable than that, so it doesn't really apply. And they're also working on making different compositions for the filaments, so they're also like stronger. They're kind of like making some metal alloys and stuff that I don't know much about that, but I will research. So now I want to give you some examples that really inspire me, and I think they could also inspire you. I'm going to start with the one with the biggest budget and the biggest impact. In collaboration with Parley, Nagami Studio designed and 3D printed a facade for Dior's store in Marbella. The filament used for this project was crafted from plastic collected from the ocean, which was then used to create this cool wavy facade and objects inside the store. This was more of a conscious marketing campaign because it's not there anymore, and they kind of like took all the plastic used for this facade, they made it into pellets, and it's gonna be reused in another project. So the eco-friendliness cycle continues. I really liked it. I wish I could have seen it, but yeah, I think it's a very impactful project. I love it. And since I was impressed with this Spanish studio, I checked their website and found out that they also design furniture, and they even collaborated with Zaha Hadid architects. And it's just worth mentioning and super inspiring because despite not being able to 3D print this at home, because probably your 3D printer cannot fit a chair, these dimensions, but you could 3D print the smaller scale prototypes or whatever you have in mind. Well, technically, you could 3D print these chairs at home, like part by part, and then you have to assemble it, like this guy in this video just did.
This is the Fortune Chair by Heller Furniture, and it costs $1,175. But what if I could just 3D print it? After all, the chair is made of plastic, and I've 3D printed designer furniture before, like this Magic Spun chair.
Oh my god!
Let's now focus on more realistic stuff, and the stuff that actually inspired me to get my printer. The first one I want to mention is Wooj, whose lamps are now at the MoMA Design Store in New York City. And I keep seeing them on my Instagram feed. If I remember correctly, its founder, Sean Kim, was studying industrial design when he bought a 3D printer, learned how to use it, and eventually mastered to the point where he could build a business. It's so inspiring, like it could literally happen to anyone with an idea and a vision and talent. I think he's super talented and I really like what he built. And the next sample is Uau Labs from Poland. I love what they do. Like, they're so creative. They're just, I don't know, it's just like, I really wanted to be them, not them, but I really wanted to be the one that designed their objects. And I was like, I need to do something like this. This is super cool. And I got so inspired and I was like, I'm buying the printer. But then I realized, like, I admire what they do, but it's not my style. I mean, it's my style to buy it and to have it at home, but it's not my design style. Yeah, if that makes sense. So I would rather just buy something from them and like admire it. I just love how something that was previously seen just as a prototyping tool before mass production is now used as a final product. And it's actually beautiful. I'm not an interior designer, but if I were, I would love to be able to craft easily the objects, the furniture, the decor objects that I include in my renders and kind of like just sell them to my clients, you know? So yeah, that would be amazing. That's what some studios are doing. So yeah, if you are talented with 3D modeling and you want to give 3D printing a try, then I think it's a great moment for that. It's getting more mainstream. People are accepting it more. They don't see it that much as plastic. They see it more like a new technique that it's a final product. So yeah, if you are into it or if you want to learn more about it, then just get started. I was all in with 3D printing, but then I realized that I don't like learning software. I just like to learn the basics and try to do basic stuff, and that's it. I get frustrated when it gets more complex than that, but you probably don't. So I really encourage you to give it a try and to see where it takes you, because it's very fulfilling. I don't know. At least for me, it's just very fulfilling when something that I designed gets printed without me moving a finger. I mean, I just need to make some clicks to get it on the printer, you know, but that's it. Very convenient. Okay, that's it for today. I don't know how this video would turn out. This was more like a structured rant with good facts, probably. I hope it's inspiring to you. And I'm just gonna leave it here because it's almost 12. Bye!